guys. All right, we got a good bit taken off the motor. As you can see over here, got the wiring harness pulled off, got the coil plugs and everything like that. One thing I did like that Mopar's done on these things is this is your only harness for your injectors and coils, which I like, and you can't mix them up because I was going through and labeled them all. So that's three, but how they have it split, you really can't mess it up unless you really try, and it's a random pine needle. So got all that off, got her on the motor stand, which was fun. Not really, I had a bunch of issues trying to get that thing off, and I just got the intake sitting here and that's pulled off. But I'm gonna start tearing her down, get the heads off, get the oil out of her, everything like that. Try to get her down to a short block as much as possible as I can tonight. Get the headers off, all that good stuff. So, but one thing I do want to show y'all, I don't know the history on this motor. Like I said, with the guy I bought it from, all he said, he just pulled out of a truck when I hit him up about looking for a motor, and the only thing he said was it had a blown head gasket. Now, when I got it, checked the dipstick, of course, there was no coolant in the oil on the dipstick, so it looked like it was doing what my truck's doing and pushing coolant into the, or not pushing coolant, pushing the exhaust gases into the coolant system. So I'm assuming this is what happened to this, but like I said, I do not know the history. I think it was over 200,000 miles, but that's about all I know. But I did find out when I pulled this valve cover off, whoever did this did not change oil like he should. Like, that's a chunk of carbon right there. So it's going to take a lot of cleaning to get these heads taken care of. I'm hoping that it's not a good sign. I'm just hoping it didn't do too much damage, so we'll see. I'll throw a time lapse up and start working on this thing. So, found a couple things. One, whoever owned this motor should never own a vehicle or maintain a vehicle ever again. It is absolutely ridiculous how much stinking carbon buildup. Like, chunks. Just chunks after chunks after chunks. Now, the cylinder walls look decent. I would say that was getting coolant, definitely. Looks like it was pushing up right. Oh, yep. Yeah. So, not too shabby. Now, one thing that was worrying me when I was pulling everything off, I was pulling push rods, and I found this baby. She a little unhappy. Not straight at all. So, all the other ones, I haven't rolled them on a table yet, but all the other ones visually look straight. So, but let's see, I'll pop this off real quick. Come on. Whew. Yeah, and Lord have mercy. I don't know, I haven't looked up what the torque specs are on these heads, so I don't know if they were supposed to be that tight, or it's just from 200 miles, 20 years of being on. But Lord have mercy, those head bolts were on tight. Like, gave her everything I had, and they're pretty stout head bolts. So she definitely gonna need some cleanup. I haven't decided. Once I get everything torn apart, I'm gonna see if I'm gonna do pistons. I might, with the look of them now, that's a lot of cleaning to try to get these pistons to get cleaned up. So probably gonna do pistons on it. Let's start on the next side. Yo, this is nasty. One person says, let me find this because I think this was a very
Oh, the bottom of this oil pan.
It's not metal. It crumbles. That's all carbon. I don't think this dude ever changes oil. Now tell me if I'm wrong. Like I said, I did not see any coolant in the oil. Would coolant cause oil to carbonize like this? Like it's just grit, straight grit. Like I said, I don't see anything shiny. That's just straight crud. And that was all in there too. Like I said, whoever had this truck, Lord have mercy, y'all need to reevaluate your life, because that's bad. That's real bad. Alright, I lied. There's material. So this is the rag I've been wiping my hands with, and I just wipe my hands from all that crud, and I see shimmers. A lot of shimmers. See this on the back side. No, that sounds good. But yeah, look at that thing shimmering in the light. God, I bet you a rod bearing or a main bearing is definitely shot on this thing. I bet you that's why. Got a bent push rod bearing inside. Nope, I'm done. Let go from all that stinking crud and slap that valve. I don't see any damage on the valves. They look rough.
I'm talking about Kamala Harris claiming that she's got a Glock doesn't have a safety and would be illegal in carrying.
That's the driver's side.
Here's the thing. Kamala Harris actually tried to ban the same firearm that she claims that she has. Here's the truth about that. Glock was the only firearm name she could think of.
Whew.
The only one.
It's gonna get interesting real quick.
You know, yeah, like Will says.
I think we're gonna call her or not. So I got both heads taken off. And clearly you can see that ain't looking good. That was the side the bent push rod was on. This side doesn't look too bad. I don't think we had a bad head gasket on this. Now don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of carbon buildup, but it had over 200,000 miles. That looks normal. But yeah, this side, she don't look too hot. Like something sat in that cylinder, most definitely. Cylinders are completely smooth. I don't even know if I can see any cross hatching or anything like that. So she definitely got ran her entire life pretty stinking hard. Now the lifters, I haven't seen anything crazy, but I know these motors, with not having the MDS or the VVT or anything to that extent, those lifters really don't have that big of an issue. The lifters are fine. Now, getting that stupid oil pan off is a pain in the ass. So, for some reason, Mopar or Dodge, or whoever you want to call them, decided to take the oil pan gasket and combined it with the windows tray. Well, how they have it, they have the old pickup snake through that windows tray. So if that gasket is stuck to this oil pan, you can't take the oil pan off. So I had to pry the gasket away from this just to get the oil pan off. And this doesn't tell you how well this dude, let me get in the light. That doesn't tell you how well this dude took care of this motor. I don't know what does. This thing is bad. It's definitely not going to be a slap back together and call her a day. She's going to need a deep, deep, deep clean. So, like I said, I'm going to call it a night. It's almost 11. I got work in the morning, but got the majority off. Haven't taken the timing cover off because I forgot to grab my harmonic balancer crank puller. So couldn't take that off. I was like, screw it, I'll just take everything else off that I can and see what we're working with. So yeah, clockwise, good. Everything else is slightly worn out, completely worn out. So she definitely got ran in her past life, and she's gonna get ran hard too. once I get her back together, but she's gonna get a lot of love and attention she's gonna need. Now, tell me, and I haven't looked it up yet, but just from the stuff I know and seen, etc., I'm no expert. I've noticed they got these plugs in here, and I'm pretty sure these plugs are for the MDS on the newer locks. So this is supposedly out of 05. I'm pretty sure it is. Why do they have these plugs? And I might be wrong, and it could be other 5.7s in different vehicles besides the trucks had MDS, but they plugged these. So I don't know. Like I said, when I popped the intake off and everything, I saw these. I'm like, those look like the MDS plugs, and usually the MDS would go in there, but they got these plugs in them. So I don't know. Y'all tell me. Like I said, I haven't looked it up. I'm not 100% sure. So, but almost down to the short block. Really want to get these pistons out, but like I said, I don't have time tonight. I gotta get home and get ready for work in the morning. But I will come back to y'all another day when I get the front timing cover off and get these pistons and the crank out and see what kind of damage we had on these bearings, because I can't remember which one I pulled. I'm pretty sure it was the intake push rod, but I haven't seen any marks on the pistons. But so I don't know if it was the carbon buildup kind of seized it up and caused it to bend, or one of the bearings is gone and caused the piston to come up too far. I flipped it over, no bent rods or anything like that, so that's good. So I don't know. We'll find out. All right, y'all. Like I said, I'll get back to this, and we definitely have a bigger project on our hands than I thought, but we'll get it through together. Take care.